Okay, continuing with the previous lecture, in the context of implementing undo operation, few issues need to be highlighted. For example, single level undo versus multiple level undo. Undo and redo are unlike the other operations, and then not all things are undoable. Blocking further undo or redo operation and solution should be efficient. So one by one we will see. First one is single level undo versus multiple level undo. A simple form of undo is when only one operation can be undone. And this is relatively easy since we can afford to simplify, clone the model before each operation and restore the clone to undo. Whereas undo and redo are unlikely the other operations if an undo operation is treated the same as any other operation, then two successive undo operations cancel each other out. Since second undo reverses the effect of the first undo and is thus a redo, the undo operations must therefore have a special status as meta operations if several operations must be undone. Not all things are undoable, and this can happen for two reasons, like some operations print file once we give this command, so it is irreversible and hence undoable. Other operation like save to the disk maybe not be worth the trouble to undo due to the overhead which is involved with respect to saving the data onto the disk. Next is blocking further undo or redo operations. So it is like to see that uncontrolled undo and redo can result in meaningless requests. In general, it is safer to block redo whenever a new command is executed. One situation we will just consider a situation where we have the sequence like select A, then undo, then again select that A, then redo. So here in this situation, the redo tries to mark A as selected, and this could result in an exception depending on how things are implemented. A more severe problem arises with create rectangle, suppose R. Then you are going to color that rectangle with blue color, R comma blue. Then you are giving undo, and then you are giving the command as delete R, and then redo. So here the redo will attempt to color a rectangle that does not exist anymore. So solution should be efficient, and the constraint rules out naive solution like saving the model to the disk after each operation. So these are nothing but few concern issues that you have to take care at the time of implementing the undo operation. And with respect to this undo operation, there are a few drawbacks, obvious drawbacks. One is the long conditional statement in the undo method of controller, and the need to rewrite the controller whenever we make changes such as adding or modifying the implementation of an operation. Now, with respect to implementing the undo operation, one obvious approach for implementing this is to define a class stack object. So we can see here stack object by passing the parameter like strings and objects that stores each object with an identifying string. And each command has an associated object that stores the data needed to undo it. The class corresponding to operation of adding a line is shown over here. So class line object, then get that line and return that line. So it's passing the parameter, the method is line object. So this is nothing but the class. Now implementing the undo operation, when the operation continuation, when the operation for adding a line is completed, the appropriate stack object instance is created and pushed onto the stack. So it's nothing but stack history. The same snippet is provided over here. Make line using the parameters that you are going to pass, then add a line and push it onto the stack. Then decoding is simply a matter of popping the stack, reading stack and reading the string. So that the snippet is undo object well, first is history of pop with respect to the stack, and then undo line, then delete it, then again undo select. So finally, undoing is simply a matter of retrieving a reference to and removing the line from the model. This is a class diagram for representing the drawing of the line. So stack object, which extends line object, and then the request that you are going to send to the controller for undoing this line. With respect to sequence diagram implementing the undo operation. So sequence diagram for adding a line with undo operation. View, undo manager and model. So actor will issue a command create a line. So it creates line command, creates an object, then begin that command, then execute it, add the line to the model, get by taking the first point, sorry, then select a second line, set line point with point 2, then pass it to the object line, then get command, line command, end it, refresh and set changed. So model will inform to the view to refresh the view. The central idea behind the command pattern is to employ two stacks. One for storing the command that can be undone, and the other for maintaining the command that may be redone. So history stack and redo stack. The class undo manager maintains these stacks, and the undo manager plays the role of the controller as soon after the command object is created. Then view informs the undo manager, which is then expected to initiate its bookkeeping operation. When the view has received all of this data needed to complete the command, it notified the undo manager once more. And two methods, begin command and end command, are used for these two purposes. Now, these are nothing but the class diagrams. So using stack, when redo stack is empty, and when you are going to provide different commands. So what all things will be there in history stack and what all things will be there in redo stack. So as we have seen here, two types of stacks are there. One for storing the commands that can be undone, and other for maintaining the commands that may be redone. So here, the general rule is that when the undo operation is requested, if the top of the undo stack is command, that can be undone. The command is undone and transferred to the redo stack. So here history stack, if you see, so label object, so label 1, then the circle object, circle 1, then label object, label 2, and line object, line 1. So these are nothing but the previous commands. Here the redo stack is empty. So status of the stack and the collection in the model. Now status of the stack and the collection in the model after undo operation. So here after undo, so top of the stack is a line object label 1. So that will be redo stack. So line object label 1, line object with the whichever command was on the top of the stack. So that will be after the redo command, that will be pushed onto the redo stack. And same thing they had mentioned over here in redo stack. Now line object line 1, line object line 1, and remaining things will be there on the stack. So that is label object, then circle object. So all the and the most recent command will be line object line 2, line object line 2. So this is just the example of it. Now incomplete command refer to the command that has not yet been properly terminated. An incomplete item is an item such as a line or a label that might not have proper values for every field. For example, suppose the user clicks the create line button and clicks one point. And before clicking the second point to specify the second point, suppose the user clicks on add label button. So here you have not completed the drawing line command entirely, because you have to select left point and right point, and then the drawing that line command will be completed, but it is abruptly interrupted. So suppose the user clicks the add label button. So the create line command is now incomplete. So how should this will be handled? So we can, at least there are two ways to handle such type of situation. We could prevent the possibility of user aborting command in the middle. A popular approach is to disable all the command buttons when a new command is finished and leave them disabled until the command is completed. When the command is completed, all the buttons are enabled. This is one of the approach. And second approach is possibility is to handle this with additional method in both the undo manager and the command class. This is a small snippet they have given drawing incomplete items. So boolean is incomplete to find out whether that particular command is incomplete or not. So there are a couple of reasons why in the drawing program we might wish to distinguish between these two types of item. Incomplete item might be rendered differently from complete item, or some fields in an incomplete item might not have proper values. Now adding a new feature. Most interactive systems that are used to create graphical object allows user to define new kinds of object on the fly. Example one is system for writing sheet music may allow a user to define a sequence of notes as a group, and this would enable the user to manipulate these notes as a group and making the copies of these as needed. And in example to me, in a system for drawing electrical circuit, a set of components interconnected in a particular way could be clustered together as a subcircuit, and that can then be treated as a single unit. The process for creating such compound object would be as follows. The user would select the item that have to be combined by clicking on them. The system would then highlight the selected item. The user then requests the operation of the combining the selected item into a compound object, and the system combines them into one. Now adding a new feature. Once a compound object has been created, it can be treated as any other object, and this process can be iterated. That is, compound object can be combined with other objects to create another compound object. The system also allows the user to break down a compound item into its constituent item by first selecting the item to be broken down and then choosing the decompose operation. So same thing here, the hierarchy they have maintained over, they have shown over here, compound item. So iteratively you are calling the compound item, then line and label which will be acting as a leaf. So compound item, you are passing the parameter for it, then enumeration get item, and return an enumeration of the object in item. Now pattern based solution. A pattern is a solution template that addresses a recurring problem in a specific situation. In a general sense, continuing with the pattern based solution. Pattern is a solution template that addresses a recurring problem in a specific situation. In a general sense, this could apply to any domain. In the context of creating software, three kind of patterns have been identified. So at the highest level, we have the architectural pattern, and these typically partitions a system into subsystems and broadly define the role that each subsystem plays and how they all fit together. So architectural pattern have the following characteristics. They have evolved over the time. A given pattern is usually applicable for a certain class of a software system, and the need for these is not obvious to the untrained eyes. At the next level, we have the design pattern, and these solve problems that could appear in many kinds of software system. Once the principle of the object-oriented analysis and design have been established, it is easier to derive these. At the lowest level, we have the patterns that are called items. Items are the pattern of programming and are usually associated with specific languages. They typically refer to the use of the certain systematic elements of the language. Sometimes we may save these as a macros to be copied and pasted as needed, thus enabling us to be more productive in terms of code generation. Items are sometimes like these, but they are usually carefully designed to make the language features into account to make sure that the code is safe and efficient. Example of architectural pattern. One is repository, the client server, and types and filter. These three are the example of the architectural pattern. So, repository, it has a characterized by the presence of a single data structure, which is called as a central repository subsystem. Client and server, in such layout, there is a central subsystem known as a server and server smaller subsystems known as a client. And pipes and filter, so where the system in which is made up of filters and subsystems that processes the data, and pipes which can be used to interconnect the filters. The filters are completely mutually independent and are aware only of the inputs data that comes through a pipe. That is, filter knows the form and content of the data that come in and not how it was generated. Example of this would be that the processing incoming and outgoing data packets over a computer networks can be the example of pipes and filters. So this is all about module 4.